Hey, what's up? Super excited to try out a bunch of different acoustic products to make this filmmaker studio sound way better. Let's bump, bounce, and boogie. Hey, what's up? It's Austin here with Falter Media Company. I create YouTube content to help brand filmmakers get more clients and more brands to work with them and to up their game. So subscribe if you like that content. Today, you're gonna be helping me up my game by acoustic treating this little studio. My wife and I recently invested in an apartment that has just one extra bedroom that I could turn into a little room for creation. I'm super excited about it, but there's only one problem. The audio in here sounds pretty bad. With all these blank walls, the sound waves are just kind of bouncing around and it sounds pretty nasty. So right now you're hearing this Tascam mic, which is probably helping a little bit, but if I switch to my shotgun mic, you're gonna notice it really doesn't sound that good. You don't have to be an expert to realize that this just isn't clean vocal audio and that this room isn't really great for it right now. There's too many blank walls. So my goal is to help absorb some of that sound. I have 3 different products I'm really excited to try, and we'll have a little comparison. This isn't a super scientific test, but I think you'll be able to notice a difference as we go through. An overall goal is to just reduce flutter and get an overall flat sound that's good for vocal recording. Not for like singing, but for talking. Okay, last thing before we get started, I also edit in here, and so before I get attacked in the comments, I know that there's a lot of science that goes into, where you should place your panels and your speakers in order to get the best quality during editing. Right now, I'm more focused on having a space that I can record in that's quiet, that doesn't have flutter and white noise, and so I'd rather have that than the perfect editing environment. All right, let's jump in and talk about what we have to work with. These generic 12 by 12, 2-inch foam squares. Got some bass traps here for the corners. And my personal favorite, these little Hexagon guys. These cost a little more, but it was worth it to me because they look so cool and I think they'll make an awesome backdrop. It's just really just a personal pet peeve. I think the square foam just looks kind of tacky, and so I wanted to have something a little better for my main backdrop. Altogether, for 3 sets of the squares, 2 sets of the base panels, and 2 sets of these octagons in a couple different colors, I spent less than $200 to treat this room. So let's see what $200 can do, shall we? Let's start with our bass tracks. They come in packs of 4. I have 2 packs, so I have 8 of these. I didn't think I needed to overemphasize the bass because, do I sound like a bass? I don't think so. So I'm gonna go with 8, see if we can even notice a difference. And quick life hack, these things come super compressed down. Super compressed down, and it says you wait 24 to 48 hours for them to pop up, but it took way more than that. If you put a hairdryer on these, they actually expand, so if you need them quick, here's how it sounds before we start. We have all 8 bass traps up in the room, and tell me already, do you notice a difference? This is before, this is after the bass traps. Yeah, let me know if you can notice a difference. I don't know if I do yet, but we still got a lot of work to do. So the next thing I'm really excited to try are these little hexagons. It's from Dekiru, D-E-K-I-R-U. Links in the bio for that, but these are awesome. These are awesome little hexagons that we're gonna put on this back wall in a cool pattern, and hopefully it'll become a good backdrop and block a lot of their sound. So that's the next step. Okay, I do gotta say, I'm really pleased with the look of these, but I also noticed a difference in the sound now that I've been playing music while I've been going, and slowly there's just less reverberations. We still got a big issue on this wall, and we're gonna cover that, but this wall has 24 absorption panels up, and I think they're doing their job. So right now on Amazon, at the time of this video, they're running for about $38.99 for a pack of these, and they come in all sorts of different colors, so I think it's a really great idea to use these as both a backdrop and soundproofing, because I really do notice a difference already. But it's still not as clean as I want it. So this is with the hexagons. Here's how it sounds before we start. This is with the hexagons. This is before. I do want to know what you think so far in the comments with this one wall just covered, this big blank wall covered in panels. What do you think it sounds like? And now let's move on to our foam. Now this is really good. I already know that this stuff absorbs pretty well. And so even though I think it looks tacky, I'm going to put it behind my desk where a lot of my, I'm speaking toward that right now. And so it's going to cover a lot of that and it won't bounce back as much. So I want it behind my microphones, behind my desk, and I have 3 sets of these, so I might do some on the door if I have extra, but we're going to start with that desk area, maybe do a few in the back. And quick tip, this tape, I think it's working really well. They seem to be really solid and they don't move around. I tried to readjust some of the panels and it was actually hard to do. So this 3M tape, it's really cheap on Amazon, but there's a trick to it. Make sure that this little red thing, don't have it attached to the black tape while you cut, because that's so impossible to get those things apart. So, yeah. So once you have it apart, keep the red thing unraveled. This is gonna save you a lot of time, I promise. And then when you're going to cut, if you just expand the tape a little bit, it's easier to cut rather than trying to cut while it's loose. So you stretch it out, cut it. It's going to save you a lot of time, but this really does work well for this. All right, we finally have 36 of these foam squares, the generic foam squares, up in this office here. They're 2 inches thick, and I actually noticed quite a big difference. I'm really liking the sound in here. I might do a little more, order a bit more, but for under $200 for what we have here, we have a nice backdrop with some sound getting absorbed on this wall. Scattered throughout, we have this 2-inch acoustic foam. It's probably the cheapest way to go. The egg crate stuff doesn't work too well. And then we have our 8 bass traps, and really, I'm really pleased with the sound. Now let's go back to what it sounded like before everything. Here's how it sounds before we start. This is before. What did it sound like with just the hexagons and bass traps? So this is with the hexagons. This is with the hexagons. And now what does it sound like with everything? This is what it sounds like. Now let me know in the comments what you think about this sound, if it's good or if it needs more improvement. Again, it's still coming from my shotgun mic here. Now if I switch to my Tascam, we'll see if you notice a difference there. I think this is a really nice recording space now. So what we did today is we acoustic treated. We didn't do any soundproofing. Soundproofing blocks sound from coming in and out of a space. Like if you're a drummer and you want to keep that noise inside of your house, you soundproof the windows, the walls, the doors. What we did is acoustic treat, so it affects how the sound is bouncing around in this room. In the future, there's 3 things I might do to help acoustic treat a bit more and actually soundproof. Number 1 is get some weather strips. And these are great. You can find them on Amazon. Put them in the doors and windows. And what that does is it cuts the sound coming through the cracks. Where I have a furnace right outside this room, and you can hear the stuff going on in the rest of the house right now, those weather strips should be able to cut down some of that. I also might get some more acoustic foam just for the other side of the door, because if I can absorb more of the sound coming to the door, then it doesn't go through the door. And this door is a little bit cheap, it's hollow, which isn't what you want to block sound. So maybe another layer of acoustic foam would be able to cut back some of that sound coming in. Now the last issue that I anticipate is right outside this window we have a fence and then some dogs that are sometimes out there. And I might just have to time it. You might be able to hear it at some points of the day. But if I get a sound blanket, which is basically just like a moving blanket, it's pretty thick, and it absorbs sound from both sides, I've heard that that really cuts down some of the sound coming in through windows. So that's probably what I'll do with the window. And then if there is a last thing I might do is attach foam to a board or maybe one of those trifold like poster boards. And whenever I'm ready to record, I could just set it up right in front so that no matter where I move in this little space, I plan to use the different walls. I can have that in front of my mic or right behind my mic, so it cuts back from the noise bouncing back at the microphone. So those are the other things I might do in this room. And I hope this was helpful to see how you can acoustic treat on a budget and how, it really does improve the sound. So thank you for learning with me. Of course, all the links are in the bio if you want to check them out. Now go create something beautiful and make your mama proud.
And now it's time for Summary Songs with Austin, the part of the show where Austin comes out and sings a summary song. So without further ado, Summary Songs with Austin.
Sound waves, love bouncing off your walls, which ruins audio on YouTube or even Zoom calls. So if you want 2 happy little ears, then put up absorption panels and dissipate your fears. Ooh, acoustic treating keeps my heart beating. Ooh. Subscribe. Subscribe if you're needing more songs worth repeating.